So we're just live a little bit early. I just want to check the tech works. I'll be with you in 1 minute. Good. Oh, look, it's echoing. Good afternoon. Let's cut the sound there as well. So bear with me while I just play with a couple of things. Just waiting for the clock to tick over. Need to get my teeth in as well. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday afternoon. I've got a screen there and a camera there, so I'm going to do my very best to keep looking at you here. So I'm looking at the right people. I hope you're well. 1 more minute to go. While we're doing this, when you do join, lovely, thank you for coming along. Please put in the comments where you're from or where you are. I'd love to hear who you are, what you're doing today, and how your weekend's been. So just wait for a few people to join. We're still just a little bit early. Milford Warren in Florida. How cool is that? Hey, Mr. Warren, how are you? Really good to see you. And thank you to the others of you that are joining. We're just on time. I thought I'd kick off now. Like being on time. Going to move this camera down a bit so you can see the little studio that I work in. And I've got a whole load of Disney stuff around me. Over there, certificates that say why I'm a really good person to talk to you about travel. I can only do it for the UKs, for the Brits, Neil, so sorry about that. But I'm looking to recruit some American agents. So if you or anybody else knows people that are interested in travel and would like to be a travel agent, I'd love to help them do that, but message me separately. So what I was planning to do today was just talk a little bit about Disney and Florida and Paris and just answer any questions. I've had a couple come in before the event. I'm delighted to see those. So Amy, thank you for asking a question. Amy's question was a really good one. It was, what's my favorite ride in each of the parks? And this is a really interesting one because it changes because Disney are opening new things all the time. Thank you to those of you who have just joined. It doesn't tell me on the screen who you are, so pop in the chats where you're messaging from or where you're watching from. Delighted to see you here. And I've probably got a setting here to show me when people who's joined and where they're from, but I'll just ask you to introduce yourself. So back to Amy's question. Amy said, David, tell us, what are your favorite rides in what parks? Well, I'm hoping Tron's going to be my new favorite in Magic Kingdom. We missed it when we were there in March. We're there in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to ride that. In Animal Kingdom, absolutely Pandora, and Avatar, the Flight of Passage, mind-blowingly brilliant. I could probably ride that constantly. Some great numbers here. Thank you all of those that you that have joined. I put my special teeth in for today. Pop in the comments, pop in the chat who you are, where you're actually watching, and I'll make sure I tailor this all for you. But lovely, thank you for joining. So we've got Tron, hopefully in the Magic Kingdom as a favorite ride. Pandora Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom. It's got to be Spaceship Earth, although I do really like Guardians in Epcot. And then Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios, got to be Rise of the Resistance. Really, really cool Rise of the Resistance. So again, pop in the chat. Tell me what your favorites are. Hello, me and James are watching from the UK, Our Family Adventures. Hey, Our Family Adventures, thank you for joining. So tell me, what is your favorite ride in what park? I'm really, really keen to understand that. So let's talk a little bit while you're doing that about Walt Disney World in particular, and then I'll also cover a few bits in the other parks. So Disney World, Walt Disney World used to be 43 square miles. Disney are now quoting 47 square miles. So they've expanded somewhere. Not really quite sure where, but hey, they've got plenty of room. And you've got 4 parks in there. And here's my little prompts. Magic Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, the one with the castle, some great rides in there, lots of traditional rides, Space Mountain, Small World, a whole load of new rides popping up, and some rumors of even bigger rides. One of the things that's in action now, obviously, Tron opened officially in April, looks really cool. If you're going to ride that, ride it during the day and during the night if you can, because it's a completely different experience. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train's opened up, and you've got all the traditional ones I mentioned: Small World, Space Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion. Next up, Epcot. Epcot experimental prototype community of tomorrow was Walt's dream for Epcot. That's got a whole load of new rides. Guardians of the Galaxy has just opened. That's really cool. It's a roller coaster where the track changed. The track stays the same, your ride vehicle moves, so whilst you're going up and down, you're also being turned around, so that's good. Kathleen Knock, hey Kathleen, only been to Disneyland Paris, love Phantom Manor, now due to my friend taking it to me, it's about 6 times last year. Kathleen, you're absolutely right, you're talking Simon's tune there. Simon would just do Haunted Mansion and the Pirates of the Caribbean back to back all the time. Scarlett loves Slinky Dog, James loves Spaceship Earth, and mine is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Love all of those as well. Epcot's had a real refurb over the past few years. There's been walls up for ages. They're hopefully coming down. Neil says the food and drink at Epcot is epic. It is really dangerous. Too much food, too much alcohol in a place that will just grab your money. But absolutely, food and drink at Epcot's epic. Epcot, 2 parts. You've got what used to be called Future World and what is still World Showcase. Neil also loves Ratatouille. Love the Ratatouille ride when everything's working and you get the sprays of water and the smells and everything. It's really, really cool. So World Showcase with all of the other bits and Food and Wine Festival. Flower and Garden's really cool as well. Really pretty and great food as well. Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is amazing. It used to be a half-day park. Since they put Pandora in, it's a whole-day park. Get there early if you're going to do the safari, because the animals are just waking up and not too sort of knocked out by the heat. And as it says on the picture there, the Nemo show's really, really cool. Love the Nemo show. Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios is amazing. Hollywood Studios has Toy Story Land. Hollywood Studios has Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge, and probably the most complicated ride in Disney's history, which is Rise of the Resistance. It's actually probably 3 or 4 rides in one, which is why it goes down so much. But if you haven't ridden it, get yourself on that ride when you're over there. I'm not sure whether it's still a virtual queue, or you can use a Lightning Lane or Genie Plus, or do rope drop. Talk about that in a minute. Couple of other things also to consider. Oh, Simon also says Carousel. Carousel of Progress in Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom is a little bit of a hidden secret, because not only is it a ride that shows the origins, and it came from the World Fair in '54, I think it was, but also it's a really nice 20-minute sit down in an air-conditioned atmosphere. So if you want a little break, take the kids in there, everybody gets to sit, give your feet a rest and cool down. 2 water parks. You've also got Typhoon Lagoon and you've got Blizzard Beach, and both of those are really, really cool. Very similar kind of things. Theming of Blizzard Beach is around it froze in Florida and there was snow last year, so Neil probably knows this because he's over there. You know, the weather's been crazy, but it actually stayed frozen, so you've got frozen scenes and they've done a frozen overlay there. Typhoon Lagoon, much more country kind of waterhole thing. Family Adventures, never been to Carousel of Progress. Who are you and why are you on this video? You need to go and do it. It's in the far corner of Tomorrowland, just around the corner from Buzz Lightyear and Space Mountain. Definitely worth it. Just give your feet a rest. Also over there, of course, Universal. Universal say they've got 3 parks. So if Universal can say they've got 3 parks, Disney can say they've got 6, because actually one of Universal's 3 parks is a water park. Islands of Adventure, really, really cool, and Universal Studios, both with an amazing Harry Potter area, and you catch the train to go past. Neil says it's still chilly to Florida, but nice to walk around, and yeah, absolutely top of the list for next time. I really like Universal. When I've got clients coming to me and saying, look, where should we go? If they've got kids sort of 8 and upwards, I definitely recommend Universal. And here's something that I thought I'd never say. I've previously always said to people, base yourself in Walt Disney World, get all the benefits there, and then go up to Universal and spend a few days there. Universal is so much cheaper now than Walt Disney World. I'm actually recommending people do split stays now. You can get a really nice room at Universal for about £100 a night, whereas Disney's coming in at about 150. So definitely worth going to Universal. Velocicoaster, the latest coaster, Hagrid's, motorcycle run, and a whole great load of theming. I've never done an evening at Universal, but if anybody has, please tell me on the comments. I'm really interested to know what that's like. I'm getting some prompts as well from Neil, which is great. Thank you. I won't forget those. So water parks, I've said about the water parks. And if anybody wants any of these brochures, drop me a message in the comments or drop me an email to david@D4B Travel, and I'll send you a set of those. I normally only do that for my customers. People get a welcome pack from me, but I'd be happy to send those across. As prompted by Neil, Disney Springs. Disney Springs, a great place to go for a bit of shopping, a little bit of food. In true Disney style, it's not cheap, but hey, nothing in Disney is cheap. But it's a really cool place to walk around. Gets really busy at a weekend, so I'd probably avoid that at weekends if I were you, unless you're okay with crowds. Simon says we are losing Poseidon's Fury at Universal. Poseidon's Fury. Simon, remind me about that. I don't remember seeing about that. But Simon gets more Disney information than me, and that's not on. And also, you've got City Walk at Universal. Again, great place to go. Food and drink and entertainment. The walk through with the water show. There's a water show where there's a really big spinning bit of water that you walk through. I remember that. Now, one that I haven't recommended for a number of years, because obviously there was an awful lot of backlash, is SeaWorld. I was at a Florida Live event in a week or so ago, and SeaWorld were there, and they blew me away with what they've done. Now, I was fortunate to go to Florida in 1992, I think, the first time. Different times, lots and lots of shows, lots and lots of animal shows. Amazing to see the animals close up. But obviously, since then, the world's moved on, and there's been some not so great stories about SeaWorld. SeaWorld have actually flipped everything on its head. So before, they were all about animals with a few rides. Now they're about lots and lots of amazing roller coasters, and their roller coasters, I think, frankly, beat Universal, and that funds their work in sea and conservation. So definitely worth it, and a really good price for a ticket there. You can get a ticket to do SeaWorld and their water park, and also go down to Busch Gardens, which is used to be the precursor to Animal Kingdom. And you get free transport on that, so that's worth doing. And there's also been mentioned in the comments, absolutely, Nintendo World appearing in Universal, so lots going on there. Busch Gardens, definitely mention Busch Gardens. Really good roller coasters. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away on a transfer, but really cool roller coasters. So if you're a roller coaster fan, I'd probably say definitely check out Universal, check out SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, and then you also get to go to Aquatica as well, which is their water park. So some really great things happening at the moment. Let's talk about times of year to go. So I put a TikTok on my channel, Disney_David, don't forget that. And it's reached something like 33,000 views. So I've got to still work out what I did that made people watch that. The main thing I actually said to them was, if you go from the UK and you're going to go to Florida, go in May and October. And those of you that have talked to me about travel will know May to October is always my preferred time to go. It's not as hot as July and August and early September. It's generally not as busy. You've got school holidays in there, so you can sort of take a week out of school and maybe get a slap and pay the fine for the other bit. But the thing for me generally is the heat. If you've got youngsters, July and August is not the great time to take them. Hey, look, these things are bearable. If you can only take your kids out in July and August, would I say don't go? Absolutely not. But put in some tactics and techniques to avoid the heat. And Neil, be interested in your comments on how you manage with the heat in the summer. I should add, Neil and I used to work together in the UK maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and he's actually out in the States, having got a transfer out there. Hugely jealous, but enjoying it out there. So, how do you cope with the heat? And I think for me, there's two things about the heat in Florida. It's the heat and the cold. The weather's really hot, and then the rooms are Arctic, and I don't know how people handle that, because you've got a slightly moist shirt on, and before you'll know it, you're walking into an ice cold room and you're freezing. My recommendation with that is to get yourself one of these cooling towels. You put water on them and you fit them, and then they can cool you. For kiddies, spray. I think the other thing is absolutely get into the parks early. So Neil's just said, live by the pool in the summer, avoid the parks. Absolutely. If you can do that, it's definitely worth doing. If you're over there in the summer to go to the parks, factor 50 all the way. Don't worry about the cloud. Don't worry about, it doesn't look very hot. You will be burning in seconds, and children's skin, hey, you've got to protect that. So definitely factor 50. If those tops are long sleeve tops that they can wear to protect them from the sun, factor 50 on you as well. There's nothing worse than parents getting burnt and then not being able to look after their kiddies. And also get out there early. So we'll talk about rope drop. And Neil says lots of water and hats. Totally. Plenty of hats at Disney. You don't have to buy them at Disney, but plenty of hats. Let's talk about rope drop. So how do you get to the rides that you want to go on without paying for Lightning Lane, not easy for me to say, or understanding the complexities of Genie Plus? The answer is, and I say this all the time, rope drop. Rope drop comes from the term that people used to have when people would queue up for the park and they drop the rope, and you'd walk over the rope and go into the parks when they open. These days, Disney don't do that, because you imagine how quickly they'd be sued because somebody got tripped over the rope. But effectively, it means you're in the park the minute they're open. Two ways to get in earlier than the advertised opening time. Number one, stay at a Walt Disney World resort or a partner resort such as those on Disney Springs. They get early entry, so you're generally allowed into the parks 30 minutes early. The second thing to do is just be there early. So normally when Disney say the park opens at 9, they'll open the gates at 8:30. So if you're there at 8, you've got a really good chance at being at the front of the queue. And we've done this where we've been there early and actually ridden Seven Dwarfs Mine Train about 30 minutes after opening, because we were there early. Do that at the front end of your holiday, because the jet lag will be your friend, because you'll be waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, as will your kids. And do that for the first few days, and then maybe relax into it. The second thing I always suggest to people is, when you're in Florida, because we tend to go for 2 weeks, don't overdo it. You will be walking between 5 and 10 miles a day, and you'll be expecting your kids to do that. So go in early, spend some time in the parks, come out, go back to your hotel, just as Neil says, sit by the pool, avoid the parks for a few hours, have a rest, have a kip, let the kids have a kip, and then when you're ready, get yourself ready and go back into the parks in the evening. The parks during the day and the evening are completely different. Don't try and can it all into one day. And the other thing to do is to try and do it day on, day off. You can do the Disney parks probably in 2 days. So 4 parks, that's 8 days. Universal you can do in 3. So that's 11 days. If you're there for 2 weeks, then you've got some extra time. I'm just really commenting. I'll come to that. So you've got some time to do some days on, days off, or go shopping in the morning, go to the parks in the evening. There's some great shopping. So Kathleen's just said, is it bad that I don't want to take the ticks? I don't want to take the kids. I want to do an adult only trip. Simon and I do that all the time. I did take my kids back when they were younger, and again a few years ago when they were in their 20s. Don't take kids now. Adults only trips are really, really good. It's a completely different experience. If you can find somebody to have the kids for a couple of weeks, just go and adult in Disney. Search on Facebook for adulting in Disney. There's loads of groups, and you haven't got the additional worries of looking after little ones and making sure they're looked after as well. You can have a different kind of experience. Neil's come back to me. Neil, you are the guru on this. Neil's come back and said good walking shoes. Absolutely, good walking shoes are worth having. You're going to be doing a lot of walking. Don't have brand new ones. Make sure you walk them in or break them in if that's still a thing. And Crocs for standing in queues. I hate Crocs. I think they're ugly, but they're comfortable and they do the job. So totally agree. So we've talked about rope drop. We've talked about the various parks. Let's talk a little bit about hotels. So from a hotel perspective, Disney's got, or used to have, 3 grades of hotels: value, moderate, and deluxe. So value, you're talking all stars, movies, sports, and music. These are a little bit like motels. Your doors are all facing outwards into the open with balconies. Generally good value, probably still about £180 a night, but you get the Disney benefits of being there. If you also include Pop Century is on the Skyliner. So the Skyliner is Disney's cable car that will take you into Epcot and Hollywood Studios, so you don't need the buses, which is why Pop Century is generally a little bit more money. You then go up to moderate resorts. So these are resorts like Port Orleans French Quarter, Port Orleans Riverside, Caribbean Beach. Caribbean Beach is on the Skyliner as well. And you're going to be spending a little bit more money. One of the things I absolutely recommend you to do, and this sounds a bit weird, is just ride the Skyliner. So if you're in Epcot or if you're in Hollywood Studios and you want to take a break from the park, hop on the Skyliner, go and visit the other resorts. Sometimes you can swim in the other resorts. I can't guarantee this because sometimes they have magic band gates, but just go on the Skyliner. And if you want something really, really exceptional, leave Epcot at about 5 to 9. Be on the Skyliner at 9 o'clock and you will see the Epcot fireworks from the Skyliner. It's amazing, really worth doing. Top end resorts then are the deluxe resorts, and these are the resorts on what's called the Monorail Loop, which is the Grand Floridian, the Polynesian, and the Contemporary, and the resorts like Animal Kingdom Lodge, Kidani, Wilderness Lodge, etc. Moderate resorts, you're probably looking £200-300 a night. Deluxe resorts, £300-500 a night, but these are top end resorts, and you make your own decision if they're worth it, if you want to stay there and spend them. Certainly the Monorail Loop is great for getting into the Magic Kingdom. Obviously you can stay outside of Walt Disney World, and I've already talked about Universal. They've got some great rooms there starting about $90 to $100 a night, £100 a night at their new resort dockside. And they also go all the way up to £400-500 a night. So Universal's another option, same kind of scale. 3 other options for you. Number 1 is homes. So if you're in a large group, absolutely think about getting a rental home. You can get 3, 4, 5 bed homes. It will be way cheaper. You're looking at around £1,500 to £2,000 a week. But if you divide that by 3 or 4 families, it's a really cost-effective way of doing it. You've then got Disney Springs. Disney Springs hotels are ones which most of them are affiliated with Disney, so you still get your early entry. And then you've got outside of Disney. So while, take a pause, I take a breath. I'm really interested, those of you that are on the chat, and it's great to see so many of you, tell me where you've stayed and what was your favorite hotel and what you disliked about hotels in Florida, or Florida in general. I'm really interested to get your thoughts on what you're not a fan of. While that's happening, back to Disney Springs Hotel. There's a couple of things to be wary of in Disney Springs and hotels in Florida, especially if you have a car. If you park at Disney, there's no parking charge. There was a few years ago, but Bob Iger came back and took it out. So you can park at Disney, there's no parking charge. If you park in most other hotels, watch out for 2 nasty things. Number 1's a parking charge, can be as much as $20 or £15 a day. If you're there for 14 days, you're looking at £200, £250 ish, maybe. Can't do the maths, but yes. The other thing to watch out for, and I really, really dislike these, are resort fees. And I'm interested in anybody who's had any problems with resort fees. Resort fees used to be for hotels where they provide lots and lots of extras for you, and you get additional benefits in. What we're seeing now is resort fees where the hotel just charges it. Just going to pop over onto Facebook. Bear with me a second because I'm getting some comments on here that people can't live chat, and I want to make sure that I'm not missing out from anybody. Let's have a look. Bear with. Hang on. Okay. The joys of using multiple platforms. So I'm just seeing if I've got a message here with a question. Yeah, I can't see it. Okay. So resort fees, just watch out for these. They can be upwards of $35 a day. So if you had $35 resort fee and $25 parking, you're up to $60. That's £50. So your cheap stay at the B Resort or the Wyndham Gardens in Disney Springs, which looked like £120, is now $180. Guess what? You're cheaper staying in Disney at All Stars. So why do I recommend that you stay on site at Disney? Number of things. Number one is the magic. You're literally in the middle of it. So there's Disney theming everywhere. And especially if you've got kids, great place to go. The theming reduces the higher up the quality scale you go. So by the time you get to the contemporary, which is really cool and themed Incredibles, it's not fun kid themed. You'll be looking at Pop Century or All Stars for that. So the theming's great. Number two, the customer service. You're in the magic. You've got Disney staff looking after you. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. They're very customer first. Number three, you've got the Disney transportation. I drive all the time in the UK and in America, and I love Disney because I don't have to drive. I can get to places by bus. I can get to places by boat. I can get to places by the monorail. I can get to places by the Skyliner, and that's all included in the cost of your room. So definitely worth doing that. The final bit then is early entry. So you get into the parks early. And if you're staying at a deluxe resort, you actually get to go into the parks 2 hours later than everybody else. So the parks would close at 10 o'clock. You can be there till midnight. Now, they don't shuffle people out. They just use magic bands to make sure that you're staying in one of those resorts. And we've got pictures of us being in a totally empty park, which is really cool. So I've got Port Orleans, Riverside, Art of Animation, and we prefer Art of Animation due to the Skyliner. The Skyliner is exceptional. I definitely recommend people have a go at the Skyliner. Definitely worth doing. So there's your Walt Disney World. Final bit is staying off-site. Now, just around the corner from Disney Springs is an area called Palm Parkway. We've stayed there in a hotel. It was about £120 a night. Literally 5 minutes you're on property. Really good value. We know that there's some properties around the corner. The Rosen Inn, Lake Buena Vista, is about £60 a night. And I've booked some great value holidays for customers who said, we just want a room to sleep in. We're going to spend all our money in the parks and everywhere else. And the Rosen Inn, Lake Buena Vista is definitely one to do that. I've seen holidays of a couple of weeks for £400 for a family of 3 or 4, clearly without tickets, but that's a really great starting point. Watch out on all of those other hotels for resort fees and for parking. Universal do charge for parking, but don't have resort fees. So a whole load of things there. Shall we talk outside of Orlando? Let's go a little bit further. Right, I've just got a question that's coming from Deb. What's the difference between the Orlando Freedom ticket and the combo ticket and the SeaWorld Disney combo ticket? So there's a whole lot of different tickets out there, and it really depends on what you want and what your customer wants as to what kind of ticket you should get. Walt Disney World have got an offer on at the moment for 2024 where you can save up to or get up to $200 of food and merchandise credit. And actually you can get near $3,000, and a $200 gift card. That's dependent on you staying at a Walt Disney Resort on certain dates, and also getting their magic ticket. And the magic ticket is special for the Brits. This is a really good deal. When you get over there and you look at the gate prices, you'll see how well Disney look after us. A gate price for Walt Disney World parks is about, and I hope you're sitting down, can be up to $180 a day per person. If you go to 2, 3, or 4 days, it comes down a little bit, but it's never very much less than 50, 80, never much less than $80 or $100 a day. The 14-day magic ticket that we get actually works out at £35 per person per day. So that's less than you'd pay for Thorpe Park. Frankly, I'm in Brighton. It's probably less than you'd pay for Brighton Pier. So definitely worth getting that ticket. You can also get combo tickets where some travel agencies will do you a Disney and a Universal, and it comes out a little bit less, and SeaWorld as well do them. So make sure you understand what your customers are after. If they're going to visit all three, i.e. SeaWorld and Universal and Disney, a combo ticket may be the answer, but make sure those offers are valid for it. Just popping over here and seeing what else I've got. Yeah, it's for this year and they're not staying in Disney World. So combo ticket's a great option to do. Speak to the people that provide the tickets. They'll be able to explain what's in it. I definitely would say if you've got people going this year, look at a combo ticket. It'll give them more variety and allow them to go wherever they want to go. The Disney ticket as well, you can either get 7 days or 14 days, and it's 7 days spread over 10 and 14 days spread over 18. So you don't have to go the same day. Universal is a set range, so make sure if you're going, I've got somebody that's looking at going for 21 days next year. We start their Disney ticket at the beginning and their Universal ticket a little bit later, so they've got time to do both. So Walt Disney World, my favorite place, but actually I love Walt Disney. So over there is opening day Disneyland Paris. So let's talk a little bit about Disneyland Paris. By the way, while I'm nattering, if you've got any questions, if you want to know anything about Walt Disney World, about Florida, put some questions in the chat. I'd be very, very happy to help and give you any advice and guidance that I can give. Disneyland Paris has come on a whole amount. It opened in, I think it's 92. Yep. So it opened in 1992. It's had a little bit of a challenging journey, but maybe 2 years, 3 years ago, Disney Orlando, or Disney, the American company, bought it back. They previously shared it with the French and they bought it back, and they are putting billions of dollars in. So we've seen Avengers Campus open, and we were lucky enough to be there for the opening of Avengers Campus. If you've got an Avengers fan in your family, Disneyland Paris and Avengers Campus is the way to go. If you can, stay at the Marvel Hotel, or just go and visit the Marvel Hotel. The Marvel Hotel, Hotel New York, just go and have a look around. I know somebody not a million miles away who's a Marvel fan who was in tears the first time we went into there. So definitely worth a look around. Disneyland Paris is smaller than Florida, so much so that you can actually walk from your hotel to the parks, and you can walk from one park to the other. So it's much smaller. Bear in mind you're getting near British weather, so don't go there expecting lots and lots of sunshine, but check the weather because you might get caught out. But it's definitely a cooler kind of place. And if I'm really honest, don't go there expecting Florida hospitality. You're in a European country. There is some Disneyfication with the staff, but it's not all happy, dancing, bouncing around kind of American style. It's very European, very French, and I've been told very Parisian. So bear that in mind. I always recommend Disneyland Paris is a great starter for people because you can go there, you can hop over there for a weekend. We fly out from Gatwick on a Friday afternoon. We spend 2 days in the park, fly home Sunday evening, and you can pretty much do everything. So it's a great starting point. If you go over more of 4 or 5 days, you're cost-wise, you're getting to a similar cost as 2 weeks in Florida. And I know what I'd choose, but it's definitely worth hopping over there. So Simon's asked, what's favorite restaurants and why? Oh, high five to Neil. Neil said Olive Garden. We really love Olive Garden. If you want something that's healthy and green, it's really hard to find green food in Florida. And by green food, I mean stuff that's not overly flavored or deep fried. Better than it was, but still tough. So Olive Garden is a great one to go to. Lunchtime deals, really good. Unlimited salad and breadsticks. I'm a bread fan, so happy days. We also like some of the top end restaurants, and we love our Taco Bell breakfast. So it's a real spread. Kathleen said, love to stay at Marvel, but a tad expensive. We forgot to look, so going back next year. Absolutely. And listen, you can do this in Walt Disney World as well. You can go and visit the resorts. Disney is sometimes a little bit precious about allowing you to park in the monorail loop hotels. So they may well not let you do that. And the Riviera Resort, you haven't got a hope in hell in parking in their resort to look around. It's very, very precious. Even with all the cards that we've got, we couldn't get in. But go and have a look at all the resorts. The food court in Art of Animation and Pop Centuries are really good. Just go and have some food. Pull up to the gate, say, hey, we're coming to have a look around the resort. We're thinking of staying here next time and we want to get some food. And generally, the security guards will let you in to have a look around. Definitely worth doing it. Simon's also mentioned Sicky's. Back to food again. So Sicky's is on the 192, which is at the back of the Animal Kingdom. It's an American burger bar, a little bit like Ford's Garage. Great food, great prices. Lots and lots of vegetarian and vegan and gluten-free food. So for those of you with sort of special food needs, it's out there now, and Disney are like it as well. Back to Disneyland Paris. So Disneyland Paris do a number of interesting things. If you're a Halloween fan and you're not able to get to Halloween Horror Nights in Universal, check out. Oh, they're not doing it this year. I've started now. We did Halloween last year, and it was really weird. At midnight, it all changed. It was all happy, dancy Disney Halloween, and then at midnight, lightning strikes, dark, everything went darker, and then there were ghosts and pirate zombies in the maze. It was a really weird thing to do, but no, Simon just said they're not doing that this year. What else? California. I know we've got some people on that are on their way to California or hoping to get to California. I've got your quotes to send you. I'll send those across to you very, very soon. California is really cool. Disney California is Anaheim, which is only a short distance away from the rest of California, but you need to allow plenty of time for the roads. It's the original park, Disneyland, and then you've got Disney's California Adventure. We went there in 2017, absolutely loved it. Way smaller. The castle, you look at the castle and you're like, oh, it's quite small, but it's the original. And I think the original castle, they pretty much run out of money, which is why it's 110, 120 foot compared to the Magic Kingdom, which is nearly 200 foot. But it's a really cool place to be. Disneyland, Disney California Adventure has got a Cars Land, which has got one of the best rides. If you love your cars, it's amazing, amazing ride to do. So definitely California is a good place to go. Kathleen's just asked, would a week be enough for California? Absolutely. I think you can do both parks in 2 days. So, and the weird thing about it is it's surrounded by cheapish hotels. So it's weird in that you can literally walk to the park from your hotel. And we did this when we stayed there. Hotels around a couple of £100 a night. But as I say, you don't need a car and you're in walking distance of both the Disneyland Park and California Adventure. And they've got a Disney Village as well, which is very, very cool. If you do want to do Universal as well, you'll need to get yourself a bus over to Universal, allow 2 hours each way. You might do it in an hour, but definitely California. We're looking forward. I think we'll do California next year, and definitely looking forward to actually going and experience it again, because it's the original. So it's a place sort of close to my heart. There's obviously other parks, and there's obviously other Disney parks. So you've got Hong Kong, you've got Shanghai, and you've got Tokyo. Tokyo is pretty much an exact copy of Orlando and Disney World, because it was done relatively quick. Shanghai and Hong Kong are exceptional, and we're hoping to do those in a few years' time. I don't have a massive amount of information on them. I just remember when I went to Tokyo maybe 10 or 12 years ago, I love the fact, and I'm 6'1", I never had anybody standing in front of me for the parade. So that's a thumbs up from me for that. Right, we have 7 minutes left on our time. So I'm very, very happy to take any more questions from people. One of the things that I do want to add, though, is why you should use a Disney travel agent. So you can go and book it yourself. And I always say to people, listen, if you want to go and do that yourself, go ahead and do it. You'll be able to do the comparing. If you really don't want to do that, and if you're really going somewhere, let's say you're going to Hong Kong Disneyland and you know nothing about it, then get a travel agent to help you do it. They'll do all the legwork for you. They'll find the best dates. They'll find the best price. Neil Ford Warren, you are going to be blocked. He said, don't use a travel agent. He's wrong. You need to use a travel agent because they will give you the best deal. Certainly, I work my backside off to get you the best deals, to get you the best rates, and I will compare my prices against Virgin and BA. And if it's cheaper, I generally come back and go, do you know what? In fact, I do. And I've done this with a few clients. You can get a better deal from doing it through Virgin or BA. Otherwise, do it through me. You get a whole load of add-ons. You get planning calls. Disney is a nightmare to plan. You have to have park reservations. You have to have dining reservations. And all of these come way in advance. So I'll take you through that. And I've had clients where I've done 2 or 3 hour phone calls with them or meetings to actually help them go through the planning. Hey, how are you? Just joined. Hi, David A.E. Robinson. Nice to see you. So definitely think about that. I've actually got a box that's about to go out the door for a client that's got a whole lot. It's Amy, of course it's Amy. Hey, Amy. It's got a whole load of goodies in there, and they're not on the call, so I can tell you they've got a couple of planning books, not mine because mine's out of stock. They've got some luggage tags. They've got some colouring books. They've got the wet ponchos. Well, they're dry, but to stop them getting wet. So a whole load of ponchos and things like that just means they can get stuff done. And they've already thanked me for the information that I've sent them 4 months before holiday. They start to get a countdown of the things they need to do. Amy, lovely to see you. Kathleen says, my dream is to do all the parks one day. Hey, Kathleen, there's always time. There's always time to do it. Amy, lovely to see you. Amy did 3 parks in 1 year. She did, actually. I've seen Amy's videos, and Amy's out there doing lives from all of the parks. So definitely worth looking at those as well. So where can I help you and how can I help you? There's a number of places. On Facebook, I've got Disney for Brits. That's Disney for Brits, which is the group. And that's also on Instagram and also on YouTube, where this video is. And I slapped myself a few times. I need to do more content. I'm sorry I haven't done any more. You will see more coming soon. We're off in Wednesday, off across the pond again. And we will be doing lots of videos and lives from there as well. Secondly, D for B Travel. That's the D for and the B Travel, again on Facebook and Instagram. If you want any quotes for everything, and I can do more than Disney. I can literally do everything you want. I've just had a client come back from a week in a luxury resort in Egypt. I had some other clients that did some long weekends in Paris. Didn't want to do Disney, but still had a great time. So I can pretty much do everything. And as I say, I do all the legwork for you. And then on TikTok, if you want to go and see what's happening over there, it's Disney_David. As I say, I'm teetering on 1,000 followers. Once you get 1,000, they open up things for you. So it's definitely worth having a look in there. And you can see my big video there. Amy, thank you. Amy says David is Mr. Disney. He is awesome. Certainly a lot of people in the travel community that I work in, I offer to help them all the time and just give whatever support I can, because for me, it's all about giving the customers and the clients and the passengers a great Disney experience. Simon mentioned there, we've seen people turn up at the parks without a park reservation. And if you go to the parks without a park reservation, this is Disney World, you won't get in. Disneyland Paris as well, they turn you away, which is awful, awful. So Amy's met me. I have met David. He's a fellow travel agent. I thought I knew a fair about Disney. This guy takes it to another level. Well, I'm a bit of a geek, aren't I? I just love it. It's my happy place. Kathleen loves the room and the Disney bits. Thank you, Kathleen. There's a whole load more that you can't see, and maybe we'll do a wider tour of the room at a later point. Simon says, can you book group trips? Absolutely. And this again is something that I can really help with. If you want to do a trip with a group of people, if you've ever tried to organize people in trips, you'll know that it's a complete nightmare. So guess what? Give it to me. I'll just do it. I love spreadsheets. I love analyzing things. I love finding details and getting great deals. So just let me do it for you. Whether it's a Disney cruise, whether it's a Disney holiday, whether it's a Virgin cruise. I love adults only Virgin cruises. And it's only adults only because there's no kids. Definitely recommend those. So I think it's worth doing. Yeah. Family Adventurer said we did it for 11 people last year and stress. I'll do the stress for you. You don't pay me a penny for what I do. Whenever you book a holiday, there's a commission. The commission goes to somebody. If you book online, the commission goes to the company. If you let me do all the work for you, I get paid for it, which is why I do tend to qualify clients and say, look, if I do all this work for you, you are going to book for me. Please, if you find a better price, come back to me. I do have some people that find a better price and then don't tell me about it. 9 times out of 10, I can beat it. So when I do work for people, I always build that rapport with them and say, just come back to me. If you found a better price, let me try and beat it. So Amy said, yes, you have to make sure you can plan your day. She can help anybody with a DAS pass because she's autistic and ADHD. So the DAS pass in the last minute, disability access service, if you've got people with special needs, whether it's mobility, whether it's noise, ADHD, on the autism scale or anything like that, Disney and Universal both have a special scheme to allow you to do it. There's information on their website, but reach out to me or to Amy and we'll absolutely help you through that so that you can get everything you need with the people that you've got. Disney is a challenging experience for the best of people. When you have some additional special needs, we like to help our customers actually get through that challenge. So DAS Pass was a lifesaver. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Disney do them in California as well. So I'll check out that for you in California. And ultimately, it means that your people that need a little bit more space, can't cope with queues and that, you don't actually join a queue. You get a ping on your phone where it's time to go. You still have to wait the 3 hours to join the ride, but you're not in a queue. So there we go. Listen, we're at time. I want to thank all of you for joining. I hope this has been useful. I'm probably going to start doing these once a month, and each month we'll do a little bit more about what's going on. I'd be really interested in your feedback. Please feedback to me through any of the pages or email me david@disney4brits.com. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for coming along. Don't forget, if anybody wants any brochures, I'm happy to send those out to you. Just message me. Otherwise, I will see you in a few weeks' time. You'll see me on the pages. We're on a Virgin cruise first and then going off to Disney. And as our pal Mickey says, I'll see you real soon.